Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Caleb Landis Show. Today on the show, we have some late breaking and exciting Trump wins. We have the Iran deal and riding the political roller coaster. Tucker Carlson does something for which I think I might applaud him. I have a field report from my work with early vote action and something I noticed over the weekend about family, legacy, and how politics and mortality affect our relationships. Let's start with these Trump wins. Just today, the Trump DOJ announced 455 alleged fraudsters have been arrested over the last 14 days. The fraud that they are alleged to commit is upwards of $6.5 billion. Now, personally, I think the exposure of the the exposure of the fraud in America today is one of Trump's biggest wins. Exposure in general. Trump has shown light on so many things that we've suspected about our government, but now we know. Now, you might say, Caleb, it was Nick Shirley who exposed the fraud in Minnesota, and you'd probably be correct there. Certainly, he played a big part of it. But where did Nick Shirley put his exposés? Well, up on X. Do you think that Elon Musk and X would be in the shape that they are in today, as far as a place where you can go to freely speak the truth, even to powerful political figures, if Donald Trump had not been elected? So the fact that we know about the fraud in Minnesota is a victory in and of itself, and in other places around the country is a victory in and of itself. But now we have actual arrests, 455 in the past 14 days. That's a big deal. True, we need convictions, but in order to do that, you have to have prosecutors and you have to have judges who are willing to enforce the law. The only thing that the presidency can do is appoint judges, right? You need Republicans in the Senate who are willing to cooperate in order to get judges and prosecutors and attorneys general and stuff like that appointed. Now, we are getting some convictions, probably not as many as I would like, probably not as fast as I would like. But the fact of the matter is that the Trump administration is doing something, and it is making a difference. Believe me, even just the arrest is significant. $6.5 billion worth of alleged fraud, 455 alleged fraudsters arrested or charged, rather, just in the last 2 weeks. Let's keep it up, Trump DOJ. Also, I'm sure you heard about the San Francisco Pride baseball team, Pride Night, and some Christian players who had these pride hats on and wrote Bible verses next to them. The most famous one was a pitcher, I believe, who wrote the Bible passage in Genesis, where the original symbolic and the real symbolic purpose of the rainbow was explained to us by God. It was a sign of his covenant with humankind that he would never flood the earth again. There was quite a stink raised about the fact that these players would write Bible verses onto their pride gear as they were on the field to demonstrate the fact that they were not in alignment with the Pride Night agenda as the San Francisco Giants, the baseball team, was presenting it. So Major League Baseball responded, and they responded by threatening some pretty foreboding stuff to these players, right? Like they were not, Major League Baseball was not happy about it. Some government officials got involved. I believe it was the Attorney General in Florida, Josh Hawley, the U.S. Senator, sent a letter to Major League Baseball, and there was another big moment on X where people were in support of the fact that in America, Christians have the right to not be forced into a public expression of allegiance to something that violates their faith, right? That's kind of fundamental for what America is. And it was something that we were losing rapidly under the Biden administration. But in the new world, in the new atmosphere that Donald Trump has created, which he ran on, promised to create, that he would end DEI, that DEI would be, I'm sorry, not DEI, that wokeism would be dead in our country. Well, thanks to that new environment, the new atmosphere of freedom, particularly religious freedom, that Trump, from the bully pulpit of the White House, was able to establish, and thanks to the follow-up of some other courageous elected officials, Major League Baseball backtracked, and they said that there was no discipline coming for these players. They have not, and they never will be asked to violate their sincerely held religious beliefs. Do you think that would have been the resolution under the Biden administration or the Obama administration? You know the answer to that question without thinking it, because you already lived it. Under the Biden administration, there wasn't much by way of protection in a practical sense for the religious beliefs of Christians in particular. Things are different now under President Trump. That is something that we need to keep reminding ourselves as people who voted for him, and to continue to be thankful for, because for whatever reason, we are very, very quick to forget just how bad things were and how bad things will be again if we were to lose the midterms and again in 2028, compared to how good they are now. We are much better off. And what happened with Major League Baseball and Pride Night is a great example. Definitely a Trump win. What about the Iran deal? Um, there's probably there's probably a couple of things in this, what do they call it? Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, that we've struck up with, at least for the time being, in Iran. Probably a couple of things that I disagree with or would be concerned about. But that's okay, I think. For one thing, that's how negotiations work, right? Generally speaking, unless one side completely, offers complete unconditional surrender, you have to kind of give and take a little bit, right? Now, I know that President Trump has stated throughout this process that unconditional surrender is what he wants. What else would he want, right? That makes sense. But the fact of the matter is that the only way to achieve unconditional surrender from the theocratic Muslim nut jobs that run Iran is for them all to be dead. And that may not even be enough. You may need to wipe out most of the population in Iran, because Iran apparently voted these extremists in. Oh, no, I'm wrong. I'm thinking of Hezbollah and the Palestinians. Okay, so never mind. Never mind that point. See, I have never promised that I won't make mistakes on this show, but I will correct them when I do. But my point is, throughout my lifetime and well beyond it, Iran has a history of ignoring deals, right? Or making deals and then breaking them. And Iran, as well as the rest of the extreme Muslim world, seems very, very motivated, to me anyway, by pride. They want something to crow about in some way, that they can say that they have brought the great Satan America to its knees, right? These people are fanatics. I don't know if it's possible for us to even comprehend the violence and the intensity of the fanaticism with which these people live their daily lives. They make soccer hooligans look like university professors, as far as I'm concerned. My point is, I don't know how well any deal will work out. I still don't know how well this deal will work out. It's temporary and it's not final, for one thing. And for another thing, I don't know if a deal is the right choice anyway. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm saying I don't know that if it's the right choice. I do know, or at least I'm very, very confident in the fact that the only other option of trying to give them something that they can and will agree to is to basically nuke the place. basically turn the place into a radioactive desert, right? Like kill them all. And there are some people on the right who are advocating for that. But is that really what we want? I tell you what I want most of all is for Iran not to have a nuclear weapon. So if there are $300 billion that goes to places that we don't like or comes from sources that we don't like, is that really too big of a price to pay to make sure that Iran doesn't have nukes? I don't know. I don't think so. There isn't much of a price that I wouldn't be willing to pay to maintain the status of Iran as being a non-nuclear nation. So my point here is I think there's some good and I think there's some bad with this deal. Gas prices have started to come down. That's a major win. And honestly, that's a big priority to me right now because if we don't get gas prices down, we won't have a chance in the midterms. So in the short term anyway, that this MOU, this deal, this temporary ceasefire thing that they've got going on is a win. But whether it'll be a long-term win or not, I don't know. But I'm okay with that. And that's the point that I want to make for you all when it comes to this Iran situation. There may not be good choices, but there are certainly bad ones. And I think history has demonstrated to us that Trump is pretty effective as a negotiator. I'm willing to give him the space to do his thing. I can hear the never Trump woke right, claiming that I'm doing trust me bro politics, I think it's called, where the only retort that we have when Trump does something that they don't like is to say, just trust Trump. It's going to work out. I'm not asking you to trust. I'm asking you to verify. And how you verify someone is by looking at recent behaviors. Recent behaviors show a string of very successful negotiations by Donald Trump. It's not trust to expect that trend to continue. It's assessment. It's almost math. It's almost mathematical. But even if, even beside that, try to curb your emotions a little bit when it comes to this Iran situation. Don't ride the moment by moment, hour by hour news cycle about report about what's this is going to be in the deal. Oh, this person has shot rockets in this place and Trump said this ridiculous thing and Iran has said that. That is not realistic and it's not good for you, right? That's one problem with X that it has created and the rest of social media. It has created a news cycle that is at times seconds long and overreacts to everything. It is much wiser for us to say, I don't know what I think of everything that Trump has done in Iran just yet because it hasn't finished yet. We can look at recent history and be optimistic as far as Trump is concerned, or we can look at recent history with Iran and be pessimistic. That's up to you. But quit panicking, okay? It's exhausting me. It's got to be exhausting you. What about Tucker Carlson? If you've listened to my show a few times, you know that I am not a fan of Tucker Carlson and the entire woke right movement that he represents. It's on my mind a lot because it's one of the biggest problems that we are facing as Make America Great Again patriots, people who have practical goals to improve our country right now, this woke right. I don't even like calling it woke right anymore. It's like the right left or something. I've never been able to pick a good name for it, but they are the people that follow and listen to and appreciate what Tucker Carlson has to say and what he has to do. Well, I happen to appreciate something that Tucker Carlson has done recently. Perhaps I can actually applaud him for this. Perhaps he's actually being honest. He finally said he's done with the Republican Party. Now, he also said that he's, for now anyway, he said that he's not a Democrat, but he said he's not a Republican anymore. He's done with the Republican Party. He also said that if he's done, he figures that a lot of other people will be done with the Republican Party too. That we'll put that off for a second and we'll just kind of take him at his words, which is a mistake with Tucker Carlson, but we're going to try. Can we stop acting as if Tucker Carlson has a clear-eyed idea about what is best for our country once he admits that he is done with the Republican Party? Now, please do not think that I equate what is best with America with the Republican Party. If you have listened to my show, you know that's not the case at all. In fact, I spent the entire last episode talking about how great it was that MAGA, Trump, and Scott Presler have gotten rid of incumbent Republicans who were not doing the job. So, as Dan Bongino says, the Republicans are not the solution to all your problems. But since the Democrats are causing these problems, attempting at least to use the Republican Party as the solution is the only realistic option that we have. Okay. So, in the world as it actually exists, someone who abandons the Republican Party is stupid. That's dumb. That is not a wise choice. Now, you may or may not be very happy with the Republican Party. I'm not either, as I just said. But to try to pretend as if there aren't only two paths to political success in America, the Republican Party or the Democrat Party, is it's just silly. It's nonsense. And considering how bad the Democrat Party is, abandoning the Republican Party is a non-starter. You're going to have to try to improve the Republican Party and then use the Republican Party to get as much done as you can. Saying that that you're playing in a football game, it's the Steelers versus the Ravens, right? And you played for the Steelers throughout the entire game, and here you are at halftime, and you say, "I'm done with the Steelers. I'm not going to join the Ravens, but I'm not going to play with the Steelers." Expecting that to help the Steelers or the Ravens win, or expecting to be able to create a third team in the middle of the game and score points for yourself is ridiculous. The only thing a Steelers player can accomplish by sitting down at halftime is hurting the Steelers. He can't help the Steelers by doing that. He can, I suppose, by subtraction, help the Ravens, right? And he can't score points on his own because he's not playing anymore. Whether you like it or not, there are two teams in this political game in America right now. You can either improve the good guys or do nothing, or join the bad guys. But you can't create a third team in the middle of the game. Sorry, it's just not going to work. Now, do I think Tucker was actually intending to be honest here? No, I don't. I think that should check him off the list as far as influential voices on the right, because of the foolishness and the impracticality of it. But he's all but said that already, right? I mean, he's already said that he regrets endorsing and supporting Donald Trump. And he's also said that he doesn't really plan on voting for Republicans. Now he's making it official, right? So that's him. That's Nick Fuentes. That's Megyn Kelly, although apparently maybe Megyn Kelly's coming back. Anyway, my point is maybe we should take these people at their word when they tell you that they are either too dumb or too self-centered to help, to stop acting like they are trying to help. So good for Tucker Carlson, telling us the truth, exposing himself, hopefully, for the unhelpful person at best that he is. And we'll see how long it takes for him to try to come up with his own party or possibly even join the Democrats, which, by the way, you will notice the woke right continues to do. They still have not offered a solution to the Republican Party problems. They just talk about how awful the Republican Party is. They haven't yet said what they plan to do to improve it. I mean, a couple of crazy ones have said that we'll try to elect Democrats to teach Republicans a lesson, but I don't think anyone takes that solution seriously. So what is your goal, right? I'm afraid their goal is to either take over the Republican Party via the primary process in 28, which I don't think is going to work, or just create a third party out of spite, like a Carlson Massey ticket or something like that, that could only accomplish destruction for the Republican Party, which really wouldn't concern me, except for the fact that it would cause great success for the Democrats, which would then cause great destruction for the United States. I am not a loyalist to the Republican Party, but I am a realist regarding the Republican Party. It is the only potential vehicle that we have to make political improvements in this country. So I'm going to keep working on it to make it as good as I can, and I am grateful that Tucker Carlson is now officially out of the Republican tent so that he can stop effing everything up for us. How about the EVA field report? EVA, early vote action. I am the Erie County coordinator for Scott Pressler's group here, Northwestern Pennsylvania. Early vote action. I was actually outside of Erie County in Crawford County over the weekend. I was at the Pennsylvania Trappers Association, Trappers Rendezvous, they called it. Had never been there before. I am an avid hunter. I do a ton of hunting related stuff, and I occasionally actually go out and hunt. And I've been doing that for since I was 12 years old, but I have never done any trapping. So I went to this trappers convention to try to register people to vote, get people signed up for early voting, early in-person voting, answer whatever questions they might have, get as many good patriotic Americans out to the polls as possible. This is a huge part of what we do in early vote action. And I was fascinated by the people that I saw at this trappers convention. They were not the same group as you would see at a group of hunters. They shared a lot of similarities, but there was definitely some differences. And I came away with some very distinct impressions of who these trappers and fur takers are as a group of people. And I came away not being surprised at all that their direct ancestors, as far as what they did anyway, are in many ways responsible for settling the United States and establishing the United States as a nation. It was the trappers who so often went west first, right? And after seeing what I saw of these people, the modern rendition of these people at this conference, this rendezvous, this convention, I am not surprised. These were some tough people, like shoe leather tough. Like you can tell that they were descended from pioneers. My son likes to say, tough enough to hug a cactus and giggle. And that's who these people were. A lot of them were rascals, man. I mean, they were entertaining, a little bit, not afraid of the conflict. Let's put it that way. But they were people of a very strong moral compass and full of self-reliance, exceptionally skillful. The intricacies of how to set traps and how to bait traps and where to set them, and not just their trapping, but the artistic skills of some of these people, some of these merchandise, these items that they had made or that they appreciated and that they were there to purchase was really quite something. I don't know if I've ever seen a group of people who were so aesthetic and artistically inclined and also so rugged at the same time. I mean, a lot of these people looked like they had spent about 10 hours indoors in the past 6 months. I mean, these were some mountain men, and they were predominantly men, predominantly older men, but there were some women and some young men and even a few young women involved and kids involved as well. Now, the leftist who's listening to this today is probably seeing a caricature of a hick, like a backwoods rube in their minds right now. And if you were to see the faces and the appearance of these people, you would probably have that caricature confirmed. But you'd be dead wrong. These were some smart people. Some people who literally make a hobby out of outfoxing foxes, right? It is extremely difficult to trap wild animals. It's not like you open a box trap and sit it in the corner next to your barn or to your shed and put some cabbage in it and catch a rabbit or put some peanuts in it and catch a squirrel out of your neighborhood, right? These are elusive wild animals that they are pursuing. Some of these animals that they take on a regular basis, I have never seen as a hunter, or who have seen once or twice, not only as a hunter, but someone who spent hundreds of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, hundreds and thousands of hours in the woods. These are sneaky animals, and these people are capturing them with sometimes with very rudimentary and traditional tools. These are very smart, very skillful people, and it was fun getting to observe them. The other thing that might surprise you so much was how much nature lovers they really were. If they weren't a lot of them, if they weren't wearing pieces of an animal, which a lot of them were, they were they were you could tell their lives were intricately connected to nature. Yes, they harvest from nature, but it was not anything like the Bambi silliness, right? Have you ever seen the classic, not classic as in good, but like the old animated Disney Bambi movie and the hunters in that? I don't know who those people were, but they're nothing like any hunters that I've ever seen. They're like leaving their campfires burning and burning down the forest, and then they go tromping through the forest and blast away with their rifles at anything that moves in the woods. It's just nonsense. You'll find this among hunters, and apparently you'll find this among trappers too. These people were concerned about the preservation of nature and had a deep respect for the pristine wilderness, right? One final observation was just how conscientious they are. I had the fortune of being stationed right next to the pizza shop on the fairgrounds there. And the problem with that was that the trash cans are there too. So I had a front row seat of the trash cans for the entire weekend, and it did fill up. And it began to overflow. But you know what I noticed? Whenever trash blew out of that garbage can, somebody chased it down and grabbed it and put it back in the trash can. I saw much more anti-litter work in that one weekend of Trappers Convention than I have ever seen in like any inner city location ever. That place was clean. That place was pristine. They were not leaving anything behind. So, just a little object lesson for you liberals or you snooty, elitist, uptown Republicans. The people that you look down on, flyover country, has a lot to offer you and a lot to teach you. And you'd be in awful trouble without those kind of people. And it was great to be there, great to talk to them about voting, to create that momentum for turning out to vote Republican in the midterms. That's what we do at Early Vote Action. And I'd love for you to be a part of it. Our next event is at the Albion Fireworks Festival this coming Saturday and Sunday, the 27th and 28th, starting at 3 p.m. both days. If you want to get involved, it's a great opportunity, right? You don't have to know how to do anything. Just come to the Albion Fairgrounds and look for the American flag motif tent. That's me. And you can watch for a while. What better way to learn if this is the volunteer work for you to help move the MAGA movement forward than to come and observe for a while, right? You can find me on Facebook. Get a hold of me there. Caleb Landis 8 on X or Caleb Landis on Facebook. Get in touch with me. You can direct message me on either social media site. I really could use your help. You're welcome to come and see if this is the work for you. Now, one other thing I want to point out to you before I go. After the Trappers Convention, I went to a bit of a family get together. There were some relatives there that I haven't seen in quite some time, one of whom I've had some pretty serious and pretty heavy political disagreements with in recent times, and another of whom is pretty significantly sick, and another set of whom are moving out of the country. So I guess it was a little bit more somber than than you might expect at a family gathering. I mean, don't get me wrong. There was a lot of laughter. There was a lot of joy, but there were some tears too. And I guess it reminded me how important people really are, the people that you love, right? Yes, I've had some really strong, some really profound, I guess you would say, political differences with this one family member in recent times. But no argument came up throughout the time to get together because that was not the time for that, right? That was the time to reflect on the fundamentals that we still share and the history that we still share, that we mean, how much we mean to each other. And that was a time to be there for and with some family members who are going through a really rough patch um, as far as health is concerned. And we don't know for sure what the conclusion will be, right? And that's what really was impressed upon me throughout that entire, entire get together as I was with his wife and we were looking at pictures and going through some memorabilia that was there in as we were actually packing things up and putting things away in his study. And you could tell it was hitting her how short, and she commented on how short life really is. And you could tell the sense of, my kids are grown, one's in the military, one's moving out of the country. And my husband isn't well. You could tell she was struggling with the mortality that we all face, and the closing of one time in her family's existence and the opening of the next chapter in what her family life would be like. And it just hit me as I saw and was how much her family means to her. And I was reminded how much her husband's family means to him and how much this whole family means to me. That really is the only thing in this world, in this life, that's worth pursuing. That's the only legacy that really matters. Impact people. Leave your mark on your family. Because when your time comes to die, it will be over. Your family life, as you know it, will end, and it will not come back in the same way. And if your life was defined by a job, or by wealth, or by the comforts you pursued, or whatever, it will not matter. 99 times out of 100, it will not matter. It will make no difference at all once you are dead. But when you leave a legacy, you pass on your values. You build up people who are loved and who are confident and who are competent and good. And you leave your family behind in that kind of a shape. Well, then there's a whole nother a set of human lifetimes that are going to impact the world after you're gone. And if you've done exceptionally well, then your children will be impacting their children again after you. I think that's why Jesus told us so much and God spoke to us so much about families in the Bible, because people are the only things that last forever. Now think about that. You have the opportunity more than anyone else to not only affect the lives of the family that comes after you, but the eternal life that lasts forever of the family that comes after you. My one family member described it as you are writing your child's biography. That wasn't her line. She got it from somebody. But it's really true. Invest in your family today and for the rest of your life. Thanks for joining me today. You can find me on Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube. Do me a favor, like the videos, subscribe to our channels, share them with your friends. It helps spread the message. And if you agree with what I've had to say today, then why wouldn't you share it, right? So we will see you next time.